All right, guys, so you want to start a junk removal business. You want to go from 0 to 10K fast. This is exactly what I would do if you're starting out to get to that 10K per month in revenue mark as quickly as you possibly can. And it's May 2024 here in St. Louis, Missouri. I apologize, the cicadas outside are nuts. I apologize if you guys can hear that. So one of the first things you want to do is make sure you're legitimate. So you want to get your LLC set up. You want to get your EIN number, do that, and then you want to get your business bank account. So those three things are the first three things you should do. Now, we could sit here and I could go into a ton of information, go down the rabbit hole with why you should do that, but honestly, if you can't figure that out, maybe you shouldn't be doing it. That's going to be pretty simple stuff to do. So this is going to be the government website, and then business bank account. Once these are set up, you can go get that set up. One recommendation when it comes to business bank account, choose a small local bank. It's going to help you out down the road when you need to secure debt, or if you start getting into other things, building a relationship with them is going to be really good. So first thing I do, get all that set up, make sure you're legitimate. Ooh, the other thing that I would say, and this is a mistake that I made when I started out. So make sure that you get this set up right at the beginning. Have some type of bookkeeping software. I use QuickBooks. I would highly recommend it. Get QuickBooks set up. It's not very expensive. I think there's a basic version that's maybe like $10 a month. There's something really cheap. It might even be free. Watch some tutorials online and start tracking your expenses, tracking your revenue. Because what's going to happen if you do get busy, when you get to that $10,000, $20,000, $30,000, $40,000, $50,000 per month, then if you don't have this organized from the get-go, it's going to be an absolute nightmare. So get that going, get in the habit of tracking it, pay somebody else to track it, do whatever. But if you don't organize it quickly or at the beginning, it's going to cost you a lot of money to get organized. So do those things. LLC, EIN number, business bank account, and QuickBooks. Get that going. So that's great. That's some housekeeping stuff that you want to make sure you do. But as far as actually going from 0 to 10K per month, let's kind of talk about this. I think, there goes my cap. I think one of the things a lot of people think is it's extremely difficult. It's really not. Let me show you a few easy ways to do it. So the thing that you have to do to be able to get there is you have to be able to generate leads, right? So when it comes to junk removal leads, I break them up into two different categories. I'm going to call them retail leads, and then I call them non-retail leads. All right, so we got leads are falling down to two categories. Retail leads are going to be homeowners. Let me back up there. So it's going to be homeowners, but I want you to think of it in this way. I want you to think of it as B2C. And this, just so you know, this is the way this is kind of flowing here. So B2C is business to consumer leads. So that's what retail leads are going to look like. They're going to be focused on these business to consumer leads. And they're great. You know, massive companies like 1-800-GOT-JUNK, Junk Lawyers, all those guys, they've built their businesses off of B2C sales. It's not the way I go. We'll dig into that in a second here, but that's kind of a general retail. And homeowners that's going to be your biggest category in those retail leads. Think of it as a ton of fish, a bunch of fish in the ocean. It's kind of the way I would describe it. There's a lot of people fishing for them, a lot of people trying to get them, but there are also a lot of fish out there. We'll dig more into retail leads in a second. The second one, non-retail leads. This is what I built my business, and this is the avenue that I'm going to suggest that you go down if you want to get to $10,000 a month fast. So when you think of non-retail leads, I want you to think of this: business to business sales. The reason that I like business to business, and I like these commercial, you also consider more commercial style leads. Typically, business owners are going to need repeat business. Now, in junk removal, in junk removal here, there's really not any recurring. I wrote that wrong. I should have wrote recurring, but there's really not any type of recurring business. Now, you may be able to get some contracts. You may be able to do some garbage pickups. You may be able to do, contracts with some bigger commercial buildings or whatever it may be. But I should say there's not any, but there's very few recurring types of revenue in this business. So what I found is that business to business sales is the best recurring model in this business. And the reason is because These businesses here, they need repeat business. So you're going to call them up once, you do a good job for them, they're most likely going to be calling you back. On the homeowner side, they may need one pickup per year, if that. And I need one pickup every 5 years. And it's just, like I said, there's a ton of them there. What you can do here is you could probably have, let's think of it this way. So let's say your goal is to get, to $10,000 a month, and you may need 100 homeowners giving you jobs, or $100 jobs. It's going to require you to get 100 homeowners. That's going to get you to that $10,000 per month. That's a lot of people to chase down. Now you might be able to do some B2B sales. Let's say you have an average ticket price of $500, which is really close to what our average ticket price. Our average ticket price is actually a little bit higher than that. To be able to get that $10,000 a month, you only need 20 jobs. That's going to get you to that 10K. Make sure my math's right there. Yeah. So I don't know about you, but I'd rather be dealing with less people that pay more, that are going to need repeat business, than more people that are going to pay less. So the way that I like to focus on it is these business-to-business sales. Now let me get rid of this math real quick. I might need to wet my rag here. There's that math. So who are these? I've kind of described what retail people are. Those are your homeowners. Non-retail people, I'm going to give you my top 3. So number 1, this is real estate investors. Real estate, I'm going to abbreviate here. Real estate investors. Real estate investors buy a lot of houses. They're going to need a lot of cleanouts. They're going to need a lot of junk remove. They're going to need demolition if you're offering demolition service like what I do. A lot of times you can do the cleanout and the demolition at the same time. You can double dip, which is going to increase your average ticket price. They're going to need construction cleanouts. Let's say, a lot of times look at dumpsters, but if they can't get dumpsters, the municipality or city that they're in requires a permit. They don't want to deal with it. They might be calling you back for construction cleanups. You might be able to go back to the same house 2, 3, 4, even 5 times. It's not uncommon for us to go back and do multiple jobs, do multiple construction cleanups. We do the initial. This is kind of like how a typical real estate investor client is going to break down. 1, you're going to go in for the initial cleanout demo. You're going to go 2, you're going to go back for the mid project cleanup. Let's say they hung drywall and there's drywall scraps everywhere. You go back and clean that up, do a $250 job or whatever it may be, just get it cleaned up. And then 3, you're going to go back at the end for the final cleaning before they're listing it for rent or selling it or whatever it may be, to make it look good, get the rest of those construction debris. So a lot of times for real estate investors, we're going there a minimum of 3 times on a job, with the first time being there being the big ticket, and then the last 2 times being quicker, smaller ticket jobs. But again, 3 jobs, 1 client. That's what I love about non-retail. 2, the second person we like is contractors. Contractors are our bread and butter, especially on the demolition side, but you're also going to get a lot of construction cleanups for contractors. So think of contractors in this form as, they're not investors. They don't own the property, but they're still calling you up for potentially a cleanup, when the property is getting going, but also demo. If you're offering demo, which you should, we'll do another video on why you should offer demo, but offer demo. It's going to get you, wherever that 10K is. Demo is going to help you get to 10K really quick. Anyway, so what was I saying here? Yeah, so you get there for the initial demo. You may do a construction cleanup in the middle, and you also do a construction cleanup at the end. So 2 to 3 times for a contract, you're going to be going to one property. And then the third one here, this is specifically for cleanouts and junk removal. We got property. Sorry, I have bad handwriting. We got property managers. Property managers, especially ones, that's pretty bad, but whatever. Property managers, especially ones that manage a lot of doors and maybe don't have a lot of people on staff, or they're going to have, they sub everything out. Maybe they don't want to have people on the staff, whatever it may be. There are going to be a lot of business from those people. So on the junk removal side, property managers will be great. Every time a rental turns, you can get a lot of business. So we have one that we work for. They manage about 1,500 doors, and on like the 25th of every month, they're consistently sending us business for their rental or for their rentals turning, some of their properties turning over, and we'll get like 10 to 15 leads in a week from them. So build those relationships. So number 1, real estate investors. Number 2, contractors. Number 3, property managers. Let me go into contractors real quick here. Specifically on contractors, you specifically want to be focusing on remodelers. Kitchen and bath remodelers are our bread and butter for demolition, roller services when it comes to contractors. So focus on those remodelers. So this is where I'd be generating leads. Now, if you want to get to 10K fast, you want to go down this non-retail route. And we're going to talk next on how to approach these people, how to find them, all that good stuff. If you go down this route and you're going for these B2C sales, I'm not discouraging it. I just think it's extremely competitive. It's the easy button. The easy thing to do is pay for leads. A lot of the time those leads on Google ads or Facebook ads or even SEO leads, they're value shoppers. They're people that are just looking for the lowest price. They don't really care about building any kind of relationship, especially because they're only going to see you once, maybe every 5 years or whatever it may be. So if I were you, and I'm getting to 10,000 fast, I'd be going this non-retail route. So that's what I would do. That's how I qualify leads, and that's where I would get it going there. All right, so let's go. Get rid of that. All right, so we're going the non-retail route. How do we find them? How do we attract them? What do we do? So a few ways to be able to generate leads. The number one way that I generate leads is SOI. SOI stands for Sphere of Influence, which is a fancy marketing term for simple-minded people like me. It's just people that you know. So the first thing that I would do when you start your business, when you start building relationships, is focus on, you know what? We're going to back up for a second here. We talked about I want to back up because I want to get to how we're generating these leads after a second, because there's an issue that I see with people, with new business owners, especially when they're starting out, is they don't go through the practice of this, the IDC. IDC is your ideal, I'm sorry, I wrote that wrong. ICD, my bad. Wrote that backwards. I don't want to reach down. All right, ICP, that's what I was saying wrong. Okay. Ideal customer profile. Your ideal customer profile is just somebody that you think that you want your customer to be. I asked somebody the other day, they reached out to me on Facebook and they said, how do I get leads? I'm not generating a lot of new leads. And I said, okay, who's your ideal customer? And they had to think for a second. They were like, I don't know, maybe homeowners and business owners. It's like, dude, that's extremely broad. Like you gotta be able to niche down and have a really good idea of who your customer is. Once you know who your customer is, like I know my 3 right there: real estate investors, contractors, and property managers. Once you know who that is, it's going to be really easy for you to target your marketing efforts towards those folks, especially when you know those folks need a lot of your services. So when you're going through this ideal customer profile, you want to be thinking about, okay, who am I trying to attract? And the number one thing that you need to think of is who needs your service. So you answer that question, and then of that list, you're going to go through and you're going to go, who needs your service multiple times? So you make a big list of everybody who could potentially need your service. You list them out, and then you go, okay, everybody that's on this list, who is going to be a potential repeat customer? Because again, like the math that we did earlier, when we went down that business to business sales, we determined that having a $500 job, average ticket price, or let me write this another way. We determined that doing 20 jobs at $500 to get to a 10K a month is a lot better than doing 100 jobs at $100. That makes it look like 200. So dealing with 20 people having a higher ticket price is going to be so much better. Number one, dealing with less people is better. Number two, the people that are paying $500 compared to the people that are paying $100, these people don't care as much about the price. They care more about the value. They care more about the speed. They care about all that stuff. We're going to get into that in a minute here. But so we've already determined that we're going down there, We're trying to get these people that are going to give us multiple jobs. So if you're looking for your ideal customer profile, who's going to need your service, and then who's going to need your service multiple times. That's what you want to start to think. Okay? So after you do that, then you want to think, okay, now I've defined who my customer is. Where do they hang out? Where do I find them? How do I go about finding them? This is what I did. I went about it in 2 ways. Number one, as you guys saw me a minute ago, we went through SOI, which I said, sphere of influence, which is, again, it's just a fancy way of saying people that you know. The best way to get going with a business, like Alex Hormozy says, open up your contacts, open up your emails, open up all the phone numbers, text everybody you know, email everybody you know, and just let them know what you're doing. Hey, this is Jack. I just want to let you know I just started a junk removal company. Really excited to get it going off the ground. Let me know if you need any services. You know, we could be out there tomorrow to get it done for you, whatever it may be. So people that you know, start telling them who you are and what you do. Now, the example that I just gave you was like, hey, let's throw this out to the masses. That's great. We want to throw it out to the masses with 2 intents. 1, getting as many jobs as we can because we need to make money. That's why we're in business. But 2, of building relationships. So you could throw this out to the masses and you could have somebody reach out to you, say, hey Jack, good to hear from you. Don't need it anymore. Don't need your services right now, but I hope everything goes well. Cool. Thanks for getting back to me. Hey, I tell you what, here's my top 3 customers that I'm actually after. If you know anybody that's a real estate investor, a contractor, or has, maybe gets their properties managed or owns a property management company, whatever that may be, would you mind letting them know who I am, or can you connect us in some way, shape, or form? What you're doing there, all you're doing is you're just creating more exposure. So going out, boots on the ground, SOI marketing is going to be one of your best ways. We do about 80% of our revenue from this. We did $500,000 in revenue last year in our first year, and we're on pace to do about $650,000 to $700,000 this year without doing any paid advertising. So that's the first way. The second way is social media. The best thing that I love about social media, it's free. Social media is free. Organic content. So social media, specifically organic content, specifically on social media, if your service is junk removal and demolition, I'd be focusing my efforts in one spot: Facebook. Now, with that being said, I'm going to recommend that you post absolutely everywhere. Post everywhere. Post on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, LinkedIn, Nextdoor, Craigslist, YouTube, everywhere. But where we've been able to see the majority of the business that we get, it comes from Facebook. So when it comes to Facebook, this is what I want you to do. And this is one of the biggest mistakes that I see people make when I start coaching them. Is, hey, yeah, I'm using Facebook. I'm using my business page. Cool. How long ago did you create your business page? Oh, well, we just created it a couple of weeks ago. How many followers does it have? 6. All right, cool. Let's go over and look at your personal page. How long have you been on Facebook? Oh, I've been on Facebook for 15 years. Okay, cool. How many friends do you have on Facebook? Oh, I've got 1,500 friends. Do you think that, I don't know how to spell person. I'm a terrible speller, but you get it. So you think you got 6 people that follow your business page, and you got 1,500 that you're friends with on your personal page. Which page do you think should be getting more attention? You want only 6 people to see your post? In fact, the 6 people that are probably on there are probably in part of this 1,500. And it's probably your mom, your grandma, your dad, your uncle, probably your uncle that lives 10 states over. The answer is go on this personal page. This is where you want to live. The reason being, when you start your business out, people want to buy from you. They don't want to buy from your business. If I go to your business, let's say I know Joe Schmo and he's not reaching out to me, but anyway, I run across this page on Facebook and it says, 123 junk removal. And I look at it and say, oh, that's cool. But then I go right by it. But if I see Joe Schmo's page and it says, hey, I'm Joe, I just started a junk removal company, I'm more likely going to be able to reach out and talk to Joe. The point of Facebook, and the point especially of doing it on your personal page, is you want to become known as the person in your area that is the junk removal or demolition guy, or whatever service you offer. You want to become known as that guy. And I can think of several people in my area. Now me and my business partner are becoming known as the junk removal and demolition guy because we use this strategy. But I also can think of another guy in my area. His name's Brad Evans. I don't know him personally. I've never met him. He owns a flooring business, but Brad is known as the flooring guy. If you need your hardwoods done, if you need LVP supplied, if you need any type of install in flooring, you're going to Brad. I don't know the guy. I know his name. I knew his name before I knew the name of his business. So focus on that personal page. The reason you're on your personal page is people like doing business with people that they know, like, and trust. So personal page. Cool. That's how we're advertising. Now, what's the posting strategy? 2 posts per day, 3 stories per day. Of these 2 posts, we could get a lot into content strategy now. The biggest thing that and I'm not going to do that because that's not what this video is for, but the biggest thing that you want to do when it comes to posting is you need to be consistent with it. And I'll talk a little bit about the strategy. Where I saw my uptick in business when I really started to see Facebook take off for us was when I started to get in front of the camera. Hey, I'm Jack, and this is who I am, and this is what I do. Posting before and after pictures, posting time-lapse videos, posting all that stuff is great, and they're great for consistency. But as soon as I started making at least one of these posts per day of me in front of the camera saying, hey, I'm Jack, and this is who I am, and this is what I do, we started to see Facebook really take off for us. So 2 posts per day, I try to make one of them where you're in front of the camera. 3 stories per day. These stories need to be more of like B-roll, you behind the scenes, throwing some junk in the truck, pulling the truck away, dumping at the dump, starting up the truck in the morning, whatever it may be. Now, you might be watching this video and you don't have a junk removal company yet, or you just started your junk removal company, and you might be thinking, hey, I don't have any content. I see people overthink the content so much. The content is super easy. This is what I want you to do. I'll give you the secret. Go on to ChatGPT and write, give me 50 questions that junk removal clients could potentially ask. It's going to list out 50 questions. There's 50 videos for you to take. Hey, I'm Jack with American Junkers. I know a lot of you are wondering what we do with the junk. Well, after we take it in, we take it to a transfer station. The transfer station will then take it to the dump. Anything that we're able to recycle, we take it to the scrap yard, we recycle that. And anything that's, any tires or any paint, we make sure to dry out the paint so that we're being environmental friendly. And then we also pay to have the tires disposed of ethically. Boom, there's a video right there. There's always going to be frequently asked questions that you can use, and I would recommend you also post those to your YouTube with a really good title, video title, because when people type in junk removal in their area, you also might pop up on the Google search. So that's just a quick little tip there. So I kind of went into the weeds with marketing here, but marketing is super important. First, SOI, reach out to everybody you know. Second, utilize social media. It's a free strategy. If you're only able to only have time to do one platform, use Facebook. If you only have time to use one page, use your personal page. I want to say this before we move on. I am not saying that you should not use your business page. I 100% think you should use your business page. But if you don't have time, you're being lazy, you're a sloth, whatever, use your personal page first. 1, you're going to have more exposure. 2, people like doing business with people they know. Again, people aren't going to know that you own that junk removal company, but they're going to know who you are through your personal page. So that's how I would market. So that's the first thing that I would do there. Let me say one other thing about Facebook before I move on. There's a lot of people that utilize Facebook. In fact, there's one thing I forgot about Facebook. Let's go into this real quick. It's pretty bad. You need to be utilizing, 100%, you need to be utilizing Facebook groups. You want to join as many Facebook groups as you possibly can. We have a list of these in Service Ascension, which is housed inside Junk Academy, of all the potential groups that you should be using. Some good ones, real estate investor, handyman, buy, sell, trade groups, all that good stuff. But you want to make sure that you're following those group guidelines. When I say those guidelines, there might be some of them where you're only allowed to advertise in it once per month. There might be some of them where you're allowed to post in it every day. But what I would do, and we have a student that does this, his name's Scotty, he's up in Minneapolis. he has a spreadsheet of all the groups that he's in with the group rules, and he has a calendar on that spreadsheet that says, okay, on this day I'm allowed to post in this group. So he makes sure to post in that group. And then, you know, maybe he can't post in there per the community guidelines for another 2 weeks. So it's an awesome strategy. Steal it, use it, it's great. But posting in groups is going to be crucial. And the biggest thing, well, two things that I saw in groups. One is you're going to see people that post in there that they're just value shoppers. So let's say that you're in one of these groups and you see somebody post a pile of junk and it says, how much to remove this? Guess what, guys? If your goal is to be doing 20 jobs a month at $500, those value shoppers, they're not your customer. And what you're going to see underneath those posts is you're going to see 50 comments in the first 30 minutes of people willing to do it for 10 pennies on the dollar, because everybody out there that has a pickup truck is a junk removal owner. So do not get discouraged by value shoppers there. The real reason that I use Facebook groups is this. And this is what I have built my entire business around. Relationships. I post in there consistently because eventually you're going to be able to show a high quality of work. You're going to be able to show that high quality of work, and eventually your ideal customer, one of those three, your ideal ICP, eventually one of those people is going to reach out to you into your messages, and you're going to be able to then sell yourself to them. I would not worry about this at all. I never worry about competition. We're going to do another video on competition. Check out my channel below. That video is going to be down there. But I never worry about competition, especially when it comes to people commenting on those posts. Be in these groups for the ability to build relationships. If you go out and you post in, let me give you an example. Like, let's say you post in a real estate group, okay? And you do all this consistent posting, and it gets you one DM. Looks like a no. Gets you one DM, okay? And then you start a conversation with that person, you go out, you land a job. Let's say that you land a $2,000 job. You're gutting out a kitchen for them, the house is full of junk, you're getting it all gone. And then, this is a bad example. I'm gonna give you an example that happened to me in real life last week. So I went out to bid a job. Somebody reached out to us from a Facebook group. I went out. I ended up talking with the guy for a while, building a ton of rapport with him, and landed the job for $5,000. Okay, 5K. What I found out in the process, I actually originally bid this job for $6,000, but I came down to 5K because what I found out in the process is that he was a new real estate investor. He's already bought 5 properties, and he wants to buy one. I think he said he wants to buy one per month for as long as he continues to buy. So if I get a $5,000 job out of him for the first job, and this guy's going to get 12 jobs, he's going to have 12 projects per year. And I already told you, if I'm able to build a good relationship with a real estate investor, I'm typically going to be at one of their properties 3 times for the initial clean out and demo, mid-construction and post-construction cleanup, with an average job price of $1,000. So we got 36 jobs there. We got an average job price of $1,000. So typically that first job's would be 2 to 3, and then the second 2 jobs will be 4 to 500. Guys, that's a $36,000 per year client. That's why you're living in Facebook groups. You're trying to find that guy. You're not there to compete with somebody that'll go do a junk pickup where you would bid it at 300 and they'll do it for $40. So don't get discouraged, because if you post consistently, these people are going to reach out. All right, that's it on Facebook. We beat that horse. Okay. The last thing that you need to do to be able to get to $10,000 quickly. We did 1. Let me write these up here. Let's see. 2 was leads. Right. Yeah. 3 was marketing. And then this is like set up. All right, the last thing. And this could also fall underneath marketing as well, because for us, this is one of our best marketing techniques. But the fourth most important thing, the fourth thing that I would do is be focusing on having an absolute bulletproof social, my goodness, sorry, I'm mixing up my words here. A bulletproof service delivery. So what do I mean by that? I break up junk removal into like 3 different segments. So you got the first 10%, call that right here. You got the middle 80%. You got that right here. Then you got the last 10%. Okay. The first, and this is of a job, right? So when you're doing a complete job, you have to do it 100% of the way. You got the first 10% of the job, the middle 80%, which is the bulk of the job, and the last 10% of the job. The people that are value shopping, the people that are and then the people that are commenting below on Facebook saying they can do it for super cheap, that's the middle 80%. That's the middle 80% of the job. That's what they do well at. They can go there, they can pick up the stuff. They got a truck. Who knows if they either take it to the dump, they probably go dump it in some vacant lot somewhere. But anybody can do that middle 80%. Where your bulletproof service delivery is going to come from, it's going to be doing the first 10% and the last 10% extremely well. Guys, I'm here to tell you, to be able to beat out your competition, now I'm going to teach you how to do this really, really well, but to beat out that competition, you only have to do 2 things. 1, show up on time. Show up on time. That's simple. 2, do 100% of the job. Or another way you could say it is, and do what you say you're going to do. It's literally that simple. How many of you have had somebody come to your house and they didn't show up on time, or you call it for a service, they didn't show up on time, or they didn't communicate, and then when you got there, they didn't do 100% of the job? I'll give you an example. We just had our roof replaced on my house. I'm in my office right now, and they ended up messing something up. They had to replace some siding on the upstairs. They replaced the siding, no problem, but they left all the extra scrap siding, even though it was in a pile and in a box, they left it in my grass in the backyard. It's like, guys, you did 99% of the job. Why did you not just remove the last little part? And let me tell you what that 1% cost them. I was texting with my neighbor last night. He goes, hey, I need to get the information of the roofer that you used to do your house. And I go, I wouldn't recommend them. Because of that last 1%. Had they done 100% of what they were supposed to do, they would have gotten a job right next door. But they didn't. So do 100% of the job. It is literally that easy. Let me get a little bit more granular for you on what this first 10% and then the last 10% looks like. The first 10% is going to be communication. This is before and after you land the job. So through the bidding process. Switch over here. So through the bidding process, you got to be communicating really well. After you land the job, you got to be communicating really well with scheduling. You want to talk them through the scope. You want to be explaining to them what it is that you know how to do and making sure that you're going to do everything correctly. You want to explain to them how you're going to get the materials out of the house. You want to talk about where you're going to place the dumpster, where you're going to park your truck. All that little stuff to go above and beyond for communication is so important. So communication is one of the biggest things there. Number 2, and you can do this, you have a contract. It's going to show you're legitimate. Have a contract with them. We can also put show up on time on here. Let's see what other falls into. I like to have some sort of tech, and this also kind of ties back into communication. Have some type of automation that you can set up, typically through your CRM. We use Workies. Set it up through your CRM and have them, as soon as you book the job in your system, have them get a text, even if it's 2 weeks away, just so it shows that you're on the ball. It just takes a little bit of effort to separate you from your competition. You're able to land a lot of jobs that way. So there's a few examples of the first 10%. Now let's talk about the last 10% here. Get rid of this. The last 10%. This is one of the biggest things I don't see people doing that you should be doing. Ask if, abbreviate here. ask if there's anything else that you can do for them. Hey, Mrs. Smith, we just finished up the job. Is there anything else we can do for you while we're here today? It's going to make you look awesome, number one. It's going to make them more likely to pay the bill because you're showing customer service. You might be able to increase your revenue on the job because now maybe they saw the job that you did and you did an absolutely excellent job, and they feel comfortable with giving you more work and paying you to do that work. So ask if there's anything else you can do. When collecting, let's see, ask for a review. This is a super simple thing that I don't see many people doing. Ask for a review. It's going to help you in the long run, and it's going to help you get honest feedback while you're on the job if you did a good job or not. But I'm sure you guys are going to do great. It's not going to be an issue. Ask for a review. When it comes to invoicing, you want to give them options. Make it easy on them. A lot of times people ask me, hey, how do we pay? And I say, cash, check, Venmo, credit card, bank account, wire transfer. Whatever it is easiest to them. What I found is ACH through QuickBooks has been one of the easiest ways to get people to pay and to get them to pay quickly. So there's a little tip, utilize that. My point is, with this whole thing, when it comes to your competition, when it comes to getting you to that $10,000 per month, service delivery is going to be so crucial. Why is it so important? Because your service delivery and the quality of your work is going to be one of your best marketing techniques. What's going to happen, and why is it one of your best marketing techniques? It's because you're going to start to see referrals from it. And if you are working for one of those, I'm not going to write it up, but if you're working for one of those 3 people that are my ideal client, real estate investors, contractors, and property managers, they're most likely, if you do a good job, they're going to refer you to more people like them. I call them high lifetime value clients. Other people call them whales. But if you get referred to another whale, I'm telling you guys, you can get to the point, get rid of some of this so I can write some more. But you get to the point where you've got 8 to 10 whales, which is really realistic. I've already showed you what one whale looks like. Let's say you've got one whale at, that one looks like it was roughly 36,000 per year. Let's say you've got 10 of them and you're at 25K per client. That's pretty realistic. We have several clients who are over 50K per year with us. So you're 25K for 10 clients. That's 250K per year in revenue, only dealing with 10 people. That's pretty freaking awesome. And I would be willing to bet that this business operates at a 50% margin. Now we're talking about a heck of a lot better than $10,000 a month. And why does this operate at a 50% margin? Your acquisition cost per customer is super low. You're not doing a ton of revenue. You're probably doing this with 2, maybe 3 guys, or yourself and maybe 2 guys. So you're probably only paying 2 guys. Roughly $20 per hour. So your labor cost is only $40 an hour, which is really good. You're not having to waste a bunch of money on a website. You're not having to waste money on Google ads. Like I said, your acquisition cost is lower. You're probably, if you're at 250K a year, you probably don't have an office. You maybe just have a spot to park a truck. It's just an extremely healthy business. I can tell you right there, that's a hell of an income. As long as you can focus on getting these high LTV clients. So what's the biggest takeaway when it comes to getting to 10K per month fast? What's the biggest takeaway that I'm trying to preach to you guys here? It's all about relationships. You have to go out and you have to build those relationships. The way that you're going to build those relationships is targeted marketing efforts by identifying your ideal client. Do that, you're going to get to 10K fast, and you're going to succeed. We'll see you on the other side.